From his Central Texas Command Center, deep behind enemy lines, the information war continues. It's Alex Jones and the GCN Radio Network.
But I remember a few months ago, I kept seeing newscast called a new deadly type of pranking tonight at 5, and we played some of these news clips where people are hacking IP phones, computer phones, internet phones, iPhones, Skype phones, and they hack your phone number. They then get your IP address, and they do the same thing, same 2 or 3 things. They call the local police and say, hi, Austin 911, how may I help you? Yes, my husband, he just killed my children, and he's in the room. He says he's coming in here. He's going to knock down the door and kill me. He says he's going to kill the police. Please come fast. SWAT team show up 15 minutes later. They go bust down the door, and the family's asleep. The husband grabs for a gun, not knowing what's happening. Cops gun him down. Can't blame him. Can't blame the man. Or... it keeps happening, and it's called Skype hacking, and I've actually had something like this happen to me once. I had people program their fax machines. I know I'm giving you an idea. Go ahead. If you're going to do it. It's criminal. It doesn't hurt us. And then they send threatening faxes around to police departments, news agencies, and then the cops are calling or showing up, or, are you sending these faxes? Well, he was at church with her, reportedly. It doesn't matter. The police came. They charged him with terrorism. And it's just amazing. We've got Annetta Lundaby on the line with us. And so when I heard this and I read this in the news, she didn't know about Skype hacking. Because when I saw the news articles, it didn't mention that. She just said this was some kind of prank. He was at church with us. And I went, wait a minute. And then we talked to her, and she's like, yeah, he's got an internet phone. He's got a Skype phone. And now she's heard it might have been a hack. And it's a homeschooler. You never hear about homeschoolers doing anything wrong. They have the highest test scores, geography B's, spelling B's, all of it. And I believe her. But there's another facet to this. There's another facet. And we're going to Mrs. Lundaby. And that is that they've charged him under the Patriot Act and haven't let him see lawyers or let him have due process. In fact, here's the article. 16-year-old Ashton Lundaby's bedroom in his mother's Granville County home is nothing if not patriotic. Images of American flags are everywhere, on the bed, on the floor, on the wall. According to the United States government, the 10th grade homeschooler is being held on criminal complaint that he made a bomb threat from his home on the night of February 15th. The family was at church function that night. His mother, Anita Lundaby, said, undoubtedly, they were given false information, or they would not have had 12 agents in my house with a widow and 2 children and 3 cats, Lundaby said. Around 10 p.m. on March 5th, Lundaby said the FBI agents, along with 3 local law enforcement officers, stormed her home looking for her son. They handcuffed him and presented her with a search warrant. I was terrified, Lundaby's mother said. There were guns, and I don't allow guns around my children. I don't believe in guns. Lundaby told the officers that someone had hacked into her son's IP address and was using it to make crank calls connected to the internet. And it goes on and on from there. And then the whole point is they've now said, Lundaby said the USA Patriot Act stripped her son of his due process rights. No lawyer. They're allowed to spy on the lawyer if she gets one. Not allowed to get assistance. He now sits in a juvenile facility in South Bend, Indiana. His mother has had little access to him since his arrest. She has gone to her state representatives as well as attorneys seeking assistance, but she said there is nothing she can do to help. We have no rights on the Patriot Act to even defend him because the Patriot Act basically supersedes the Constitution, she said. It wasn't intended to drag her 16-year-old, 120-pound son out of the middle of the night and charge that he can't even defend. And it goes on to say they are using the USA Patriot Act. Now, in this case, they could even halfway claim it's terrorism, but it obviously isn't. But with marijuana, you can Google Patriot Act used in Tennessee in thousands of non-terror-related cases. Puffer Belly Toys visited for selling a toy that may have been patented, and threatened with terrorist arrest. That was the Oregonian. We had the lady on. All right, I'm going to shut up and go to Mrs. Lundaby. Thank you for coming on. Is your son out yet? I know this article was from last week.
No, sir, he's not. He's still being held in South Bend, Indiana. He's had one detention hearing and what they call a status hearing. He has not been charged as an adult. They're going to charge him on May the 22nd as an adult. But in order to do that, they have to prove that this was a crime of violence, which, in order to meet those criteria, he has to have had a previous, he had been previously adjudicated as a delinquent, which he has not ever been, never been arrested. And he said that he read from the complaint that the school where he's been charged for the bomb threat was at Purdue University, where he doesn't even know where that was at the time. He does now.
I mean, have you brought up to them that it's a big issue with these Skype and IP hackers doing this constantly?
Well, we brought it up at the detention hearing, and the FBI agent blatantly, there's no other word to use, but lied to the federal magistrate, Judge Gates, and told him that you could not hack an IP address, that it was like a fingerprint.
What is he talking about? This is all over the news.
I know. They wanted my son. And they wanted to set an example out of him. What
do they think happens in a denial of service attack? They go grab thousands of people's computers, hack their IP address, and they're not the ones hacking. Look, who is the name of this agent?
I really don't know, because he would not give me his name.
Oh, so you're at trials now, and you don't even know the witnesses against your names.
I'm not allowed to have any information concerning my son.
So, it's obviously because you're a homeschooler. Look, that jackass at the excuse me, ma'am. I apologize. That FBI agent.
I agree with you.
He knows it's a lie.
Oh, they do. They hit him with numerous bomb threats, and the judge down here, my understanding, wanted to let him go. And the probation officer, because he had never had any kind of previous anything. He doesn't smoke, drink, do drugs.
That's who they love. They hate him. Oh, my God.
He's kind of a poster boy of all-American good kid.
Well, they hate that, ma'am. I'm sure you've seen the Department of Homeland Security report. Those reports list homeschoolers as potential terrorists. I have previous reports where they say homeschooling is some type of thought crime. Now, let me expand on that. Well, have you seen the federal drills they do in Michigan and places where they come in and take over schools with guns drawn, saying they're homeschoolers, and it's really the police that are to terrorize and demonize homeschoolers? I'm not kidding. You can't make this up, ma'am.
Oh, I believe it. I believe anything now.
Well, now, I mean, but now I'm not saying your son's innocent, though I believe in my gut he is. I can't prove that. What I can prove is he's not getting due process afforded to U.S. citizens. They promised the Patriot Act wasn't for U.S. citizens, but Section 802 says any action that endangers human life, it's a violation of any federal or state law, is an act of terror. And so that's why misdemeanor people are now being charged with it. But to expand on this, if they want to charge him with a felony, that's one thing. But they have a right to face their accuser. So we're gonna go to break. I'm gonna come back and hear more about the case and what you're facing, ma'am, and how folks can hopefully try to support you. But there's no due process. I guess he may go to a supermax, and that's the end of it. But you've somehow got to get the transcript of that court. But I guess it's Patriot Act, so you can't. And point out that they're lying. What I know the lie is if this FBI agent said you can't hack an IP address and that you can't take over Skype telephones and make bomb threats. I mean, all you got to do is Google it. It's ABC, CBS, NBC. It's a huge issue out there with 911 systems alone.